A group of Labour MPs have warned that travelling around London costs more than anywhere else in the world. They're calling on Boris Johnson to stop more price increases on the transport network. London commuters pay £5 for a single journey from Zone 1 to 6. The MPs claim the same journey in Paris would cost around £1.46, and in New York it's £1.60. Well, joining me now from Millbank is the Shadow London Minister Sadiq Khan, who's putting pressure on the Mayor over prices. Thanks so much for joining us. Well, if oyster fees don't go up, how do you propose the upgrade work and work such as the Crossrail would continue?
Well, firstly, can I just correct your report? It's not just Labour MPs. I've written to all 73 MPs in London. I think we should all come together, put politics aside and say to the Mayor of London, we're in the middle of a cost of living crisis. During this cost of living crisis, it would be obscene if the increase in fares next year were higher than the rate of inflation. Inflation is 3.1%. You've just said the fares in London that commuters pay are the highest in the world. All we're saying is freeze it at inflation.
Well, you see, the thing is, that's an interesting point that you make, and I'll take New York as an example, because, of course, that's one of the cities that you're making a direct comparison with. And it's the Metropolitan Transport Authority that runs the New York transport network, and they're almost $31 billion in debt. They've increased prices by 4 times since 2008. They've had a large number of redundancies. They're running fewer trains on their subway because they can't afford to run much more than that. And they've got huge problems with overcrowding. If we had that situation in London, there would be uproar. So clearly, the New York subway needs to put up prices in order to be able to deal with the debt crisis that they're in. So it's not a fair comparison that you're making there.
With respect, a better comparison is Paris.
But New York is on your list.
Well,
but New York is on your list.
Sure, I mentioned. So New York, I've got the list here. New York is £1.60. Berlin is £2.66. Rome is £1.29. Miami is £1.28. Paris, who have built 6 Crossrails, whilst we've not managed to build one, their fares are £1.46. So they can have low fares and build Crossrail. My point is this.
Oh,
look,
but the argument I'm making with you there, no, the argument that you're making there is that we are more expensive than anywhere else in the world.
That's
you
right.
have used New York as an example.
Sure.
It's not a fair comparison. The MTA is $31 billion in debt. That surely is a worse situation than we Londoners having to pay an extra quid on our travel cards.
With respect, I think you've got to be quite clear. Are you saying that the reason why we're charging obscene fares is to pay off debt or because of Crossrail? I'll deal with both.
No, I'm talking about quality. I'm talking about quality of
let
service.
me answer the question.
We do have a good quality of service by comparison to somewhere like New York. We're not having to run fewer trains because we're in debt.
OK, let me try and answer one of your questions at least. So, talking about good service, the new buses that started this year, which cost £40 million more than the old buses, poor air conditioning, so it's not a good quality service. Last year, TfL predicted they would make profits of £240 million. They made profits of £470 million. Cable cars cost £60 million of taxpayers' money, and we have 350 members of TfL staff earning more than £100 million. Our point is very simple. Look, we're in the middle of a cost of living crisis. Next year, Londoners are going to have to pay at least 3.1% more than they're paying this year because of inflation. Freeze it at 3.1% rather than the increased fares that the Mayor wants to do. And we're saying to Boris Johnson, you can both have investment in London's transport. Crossrail, a good example, where we've managed to have a system whereby central government, London's taxpayers and business is paying for Crossrail, rather than a situation you've got a Mayor of London out of touch with ordinary commuters.
I do understand all of those things, Sadiq Khan, but my question then, would you rather that we were in debt, high numbers of debt, or that we pay an increased price in our tickets?
Yeah, but I think
very quickly. But very quickly, yes or no?
We are paying off our debt. We are in debt, and we're paying that off. Last year, we made £240 million more profit than was predicted. I'm saying share the proceeds with London commuters and also paying off your debt. It can be done, and London MPs of all parties are coming together to put pressure on the Mayor to do just that.
OK, well, Mr Khan, thank you very much for joining us. 20 miles per hour.